Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Rageaffects Radio podcast. This one's going to be a bit different for you. It's more of it was supposed to be an origin story, kind of where I came from, streaming wise, and everything that came along with that along the journey. Turned into not a super emotional roller coaster, but enough that it kind of shifted gears. So be ready for a little bit of about me, a little bit of past and present and potential future me, as well as some insight on what I dealt with as a streamer and what I currently still deal with as a streamer. What I deal with as a husband, as a father, as someone that other people look forward to seeing on a regular. And it's a different vibe than what I'm used to. So if you guys like this, please do let me know, because I can definitely go into other details on these sort of podcast episodes. We could definitely sit down together and go over the emotional roller coasters, the ups and downs of streaming, the do's and don'ts, and really get in depth if we really wanted to. So I want to make sure you guys are aware that this episode is fairly lengthy. I believe it's over an hour long. I'm recording this before I edit it, so hopefully you guys enjoy. If you do, please do leave a like. Let us know in the comment about it, or reach out to me via the Discord. Come by the streams, leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Let us know what you thought. And yeah, I really think this was a very interesting one. And I hope you guys truly, truly enjoy it, because I left my heart on the table in this one. And it's definitely different. All right. Y'all have a good day. Stay frosty. Stay awesome. And enjoy the episode. So, to really begin this, the biggest thing about this is that this is kind of a brief talk about it. It might not take us that long, because a lot of the beginning years was just not worth talking about, in my opinion. But I want to kind of explain some things, because a lot of people have asked me recently. Actually, I've been getting a few people that have asked me like how long I've been streaming and what made me start and stuff like that. And it's easier for me to just throw out like basically this podcast episode and let people listen to it whenever they want to hear stuff like that. So basically, I started streaming about 5 years ago as of the recording of this episode. We're in 2023 right now, so if you're listening to this in a future year or so, it relates to that. I've been streaming for 5 years as of July of 2023. For the first year, I would say, streaming was such a hobby that I didn't think anything of it whatsoever. And the biggest thing was, when I started streaming, I knew absolutely nothing. Like, when I say nothing, I found out that Twitch was a thing. I made an account that was not even a serious name. It was literally my name with the word Rage Gaming built into it. And I used that for, I'd say, a good part of a year. And then I changed it and changed it again and changed it again not long after, and fought with it for the next 3-4 years before we came across Rageaffects and kind of left it at that. But when I started streaming, like I said, I had a PS4 PC that could barely run Minecraft on it. Like, if you did anything on it other than just basic Minecraft, the entire game would just drop to 1 FPS. It was absolute garbage. And we would sit there and play games like Call of Duty and stuff, or Apex on controller. And this is back when I used to really be just gaming all the time, doing nothing with my life, just living in the city and working. And I was working with a bunch of gaming guys, and I wanted to find a way to justify basically gaming, because my wife was getting upset with me that I was always on the console, I was always gaming or working. And when like I said, when I wasn't working, I was gaming. When I was gaming, I wasn't working. So it was like vice versa, nonstop all the time. And it got to a point where I got so addicted to the gaming and the streaming that I validated that if I streamed 7 days a week and worked 5 days a week, that was okay. And she couldn't get mad at me. So that's what I did for the longest time. Basically, I would get home from work at around 5:30, grab the quickest thing possible to eat, and by 6:30 p.m. I was live. I go live from that moment till about 2 in the morning, and I would stay live the whole time, go to bed, rinse and repeat. Not posting content anywhere else, not putting YouTube videos out, not putting TikToks out, or what, I don't even know. I don't think TikTok was even out 5 years ago. It would have been like Vine or whatever. Like I wasn't posting on Instagram. I wasn't posting on anything. And it took a lot of the missus just getting mad at me all the time for me to realize that shit, this isn't good. Like, this is a bad thing that I'm doing. And that was right around the time when the first group of friends that I kind of found / built came along. And I say friends as a general term because I don't want to diss people live or, on a recording. I don't want people's names to be beat around the bush and taken like a grain of salt and shit and all that. Just all that bullshit. I don't want that. So names will not be mentioned just for the sake of that. Unless you're still part of the community, then, I love you, appreciate you. And I am happy that you stuck around through all the bullshit, honestly. But that's when I kind of found the first group of my friends, and we were in the Rainbow Six Siege stage of my streaming. I would play, I put in 700 hours in less than a year on that game. I managed to stream it. I was streaming 8 hours a day, even though I was working 40 hours a week. I was streaming 8 hours a day basically every day of the week. And it was just straight Rainbow Six Siege all the time, playing with the same group of guys. What was odd about it was, and it really started to bother me, and that's when I realized after a while I needed to take a break. Or kind of like stop playing Siege, was that I would play Siege with a group of, it's a 5v5 with Rainbow Six Siege. So I would stream it with 4 other guys, and I would have 2 to 3 viewers. And it didn't add up. So I was, started to get a little frustrated, and I was getting a little upset about it because I thought these guys were there to support me, but they were there to game. They didn't give a shit about the fact that I was streaming. They didn't take my streaming serious because I didn't take it serious. And for the longest time, I just thought, fuck these guys. These guys aren't my friends because they're not supporting me. But that's a whole nother story. And I really won't get into that because that was just me playing with my head. However, in that moment, I had gained one of probably the biggest supporters that I've ever had in the shortest period of time that it happened. I have some big time supporters that have supported me for years, and I can't thank them enough. However, this guy, and again, no name specific, but if he ends up, I don't know why he would, but if he ends up listening to this, he's going to know exactly who he is. Put a lot of time and effort into making sure I had money nonstop. If I had a rough night, he would donate money. If, we were having a rough day or rough week, he'd gift a bunch of subs. He'd get into dono battles with somebody else. If somebody gave bits, he had to give more bits. Somebody gifted subs, he had to gift more subs. And in a year, to give a rough estimate, he has over 80,000 bits. I think it's like $900 US in donos and 500 plus gifted subs. And I thought I made it. at that point. You become a streamer and you're making all this money to the point that I got to claim my taxes, and it was a lot. Like it was like, I think it ended up being like $6 or $7 that year I made off of streaming. And I was like, you know what? This is it. All I need is to find more people like this. I just need to wait it out. More people like this will come to me. They'll find me. I'll be able to quit my job or maintain both at this rate. This is totally justifiable. I'm going to continue streaming 7 days a week. And it was to the point that I was never in bed before the wife was passed out. I was never available to watch a movie. I was never available to go for a walk. I was never available for anything. And it came to a point at that moment where he became obsessive, in my opinion. He became slightly obsessive over my time, trying to convince me what I need to do and not what I want to do. And then also, she was demanding for attention, which she deserved, and I was not providing. So there was a big moment in that where also, by the way, I was working from home as well as doing a job. So I was doing multiple things and I was abandoning my work for streaming because I was so deep into this. And at one point, he decided that he wanted to introduce me into a group called the HFCGG, which was the Hellfire Community Gaming Group, which I've spoken about on other podcasts with other guests. And in that, I met people that are still around today, because those guys were the guys that I was in search of that I didn't realize I needed at the time. It was one of those things of, if you don't know, you don't know. And I joined it because I was on this massive hunt for what I thought needed to be a group of people like-minded that wanted to grow and build something bigger than themselves. And that's what I thought I had found. What I found was a streamer that wanted to get affiliate quicker, that wanted to perform to make money quicker, and a group of thrown together people that had no idea what they were doing. And I mean that in the nicest way, because the guys that didn't know what they're doing and wanted to keep doing it have learned how to do it properly. They've 100% built off that, and I've helped some of them along the way. Some of them have stopped streaming because of, mental health or work, or just not wanting to do it as much as they thought they would. But the ones that have stuck it out have built something what I think is really solid, and I applaud them for that, because it is very hard to grasp the concept of streaming and build on that in an early stage. So they did really well with that, and I can't appreciate them enough for that. Now, one of the things that came from that was the group of people that have helped me personally grow as a person, as a streamer, and just being able to clear my head more than having stressfulness. That really came down to the people that I had as mods. And it was one of those things of, I thought I had the people that I needed as mods, but realistically, those people were there to be more of a pester to me than they were to be helpers of mine. And I mean helpers in the nicest way, because realistically, I don't, and it sounds kind of fucked up, but I don't pay my mods. I don't make enough money streaming to pay my mods. I wish I did. They deserve a lot. They put up with my bullshit, and we've added a new mod recently, and she's great, and I would never change my mod team for anybody else. But before, the mod team I had was like a bunch of people that wanted to troll me all the time. They didn't know how to be a mod. They didn't want to help. They didn't want to be a mod. They wanted to troll me and have access to doing things that were, technically shouldn't be done, because I'm trying to grow a channel. So at that point, like I was saying, we joined the HFCGG, met some people, this is where I met Rin as well. And Rin was a really big part in, I would say, snapping me out of that, like, I'm going to make it mentality, and more of a, I need to work on myself mentality. Because what happened is again, Rin came right around the time where my firstborn was almost here. So my wife was barely pregnant. I think she, we were talking about it before we started this, and I was saying he's pulling up around the 3-year mark. So my daughter just turned 2 in January. So Rin has been around for a while. He's been around basically through the pregnancy and the birth. And now we have a second one on the way, which we don't know the gender of yet. So, there's been a lot of development in my growth as a dad, what I'll say, I guess kind of in a way, streaming does make you somewhat of an entrepreneur, but you're more of just a content creator. So like I've learned to stabilize myself a little more, starting to learn to take more breaks, starting to learn to say it's okay to cancel a stream because of family or because I'm not feeling it, which is a hard one for me because I'm all in or nothing at all. And it's hard for me with streaming to go, I don't want to do this. I always want to find a way to do it because I don't like playing games when I'm not on stream. It's one of those things that I've developed over 5 years of streaming, is that I only ever game when I'm streaming. And like, I've started to kind of get out of it a little more, but it's one of those things of, if I'm not streaming, why the fuck would I play video games? Because something funny is going to happen and I'm going to miss it. But I also have to say, that's why recordings are there. So that's one of the things that I got to work on myself. So at this point, like I said, Rin comes along. We completely basically rebuild the whole community, because then shit starts hitting the fan. People start, complaining about things, calling me. Apparently I was a hypocrite at one point. I was two-faced. I was, apparently I didn't, there was one gentleman that stated that I was a piece of shit, basically. And his girlfriend at the time basically told him that I built the person he was because I helped him build his stream and helped him develop his persona in a way on what he was live. And at that point, he called me many names that we don't really need to talk about. But I kind of started splitting myself off from them more. And over time, a lot of those people have actually left on their own. One of them wasn't on his own in a sense. I kind of pushed him away because I needed to, in the nicest way. I just, you end up falling apart as friends. Sometimes your friendship it's meant to be a short-term thing. It's not meant to be long-term. And I get it. You start to become more mature, and you start to learn the type of person you actually are. And then it makes you click in that, maybe this person isn't right for me. Maybe they're holding me back. And it sucks, because when you're friends with someone, you want to stay friends with them. So it hit me a little hard. And since then, I've had multiple people drop off, but I don't allow that to bother me. And I know that bothers a lot of people. I know that can bother a lot of people, especially when it comes to streaming, because you're trying to build a community of people and get along with everyone. You can't. There's no fucking way you're getting along with everybody that you ever meet. And if that's the case, then you're fucking lucky, because I've never figured out how to be friendly to everybody. There's always a drama that will steer you in a different direction. So as of recently, I would say in the last year, I'll say the last year or so, I've been taking stream a little differently, and I'll explain what I mean. I've been kind of talking in a way of, The stream is more of a professional platform for me in a way. The stream's still meant for fun. I still try to maintain a high energy. I still try to maintain the friendliness and, acceptance of all races and people and, ways of life and all that. Like, I have no discrimination against anybody in their ways. Never will. I don't care enough. Like, as in, like, I don't care where you're coming from. You're coming to get away from life. And that's all that the stream is meant for. It's a place for you to come by, forget about your shit for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, the whole 4 hours. Whatever, if you only need that break for 5 minutes, then you only need that break for 5 minutes to give yourself a breather. And that's really what I'm wanting. So the fact that I'm able to provide that now means a lot. And we've been seeing a lot more people coming in as of recently that realistically needed that place. That's what they needed. They don't need a place to hype them up and be super high energy, although it does help. People are looking for a way out. And I'm very happy that I'm able to, as a person, provide that. One of the things, though, that I'm really built on is the fact that I have built on my personal self enough to know that breaks are needed. Not that I need to take them, but more or less that they're needed in someone's life, no matter what. You take vacations from work. It's normal. You take extra days off from work. It's fucking normal. Unless you're in, then you work your ass off and you never fucking stop. But you almost need to take these like periodic weeks off or, 2 weeks off or whatever. And as of the recording of this, actually, which will be really interesting, as of the release of this, I'm about to go on a 1 week break. So this will release on Saturday, April 15th, which will be the day possibly you're listening to this or later. And from the 17th to the 21st of April, I will not be streaming. Instead, I will be playing games, enjoying my daughter's time, enjoying my wife's time, possibly getting ahead on recordings because we're recording this on Tuesday, the 11th. It was the 10th. It's now the 11th because it's past midnight. But we're doing this really late. And we have so many more things that we want to get around to. But because we haven't had the chance to do it, we're doing this episode instead. And it's been a lot on my plate. And even for Rin's been in and out of, turnovers for work and, being busy with repairs at the house, at his parents' place and stuff. And life has just been crazy. And I think I need what I'm going to call a mental reset. And that's that week that I'm taking. The mental reset is basically going to be allowing me to, one, plan some stuff out. I'd like May to be a really good month. Not financially. I don't give a shit about the financials of it. It's more or less, I want to be able to provide enough content that it actually gives more people a place to go, and we see more growth of friendships and community that gets built. And the last month has been probably, I would say, one of the biggest growth months that we've seen in a while, mainly because I've decided to play specific games and stuff, and it's definitely helped. Picking games that I want to play, that I enjoy, even without people or with people, and just having fun with it has been a big, big help. Now, I know you guys haven't really heard anything from Rin, but Rin is actually here listening to me, probably falling asleep, because I've been talking our ears off for gotta be almost 30 minutes, 23-ish minutes right now. As of
15 minutes. I wanted to give you the chance to have this, this deep talk for yourself to.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's really cool too, because like it makes me think, right? And I don't really get the chance to sit back and think. And when I really think and I sit back and I do this sort of talk, I've done this talk with myself before, sitting here and just talking and not even recording or anything. I just sit here and talk. And these are the times that make me realize how grateful I should be, instead of how like, fuck, I should be in higher places right now. Instead, I'm like, holy shit, I don't deserve what I have. Like tonight, for instance, like they're recording tonight. We had a guy that came by that was recommended by another streamer friend, and he didn't even say anything. He drops a 15 bomb. I instantly went, dude, I don't deserve this shit. I don't know who the fuck you are, but I don't deserve this at all. There's so many other people. And he made a good point. He said, we always think lower of ourselves than what we actually deserve. And I definitely going to hold on to that thought for a while, because I think it means a lot. But the deep talks are really nice to have. Even if you're not recording, of having those deep talks with yourself and help clear your mind.
It really helps alleviate the stress that you kind of built up over time. I mean, this goes for anybody, really. I mean, have a personal moment for yourself, just reminiscent of the good times, and just improve on that. We all make mistakes. We all have issues in life, but what makes us human is making sure that we don't make the same mistake multiple times over and over. And let's be honest, Rage, like ever since you rebranded yourself that month or week we did a couple years ago, like it really set the tombstone for changing what this community came to be at that point.
Yeah.
It really revamped after that.
It did, yeah. It took a long time though, because it takes a lot of little pieces to get in place, and you almost need to, like I was saying, like you almost need to slowly shift so that the people that don't really fit in know that it's their time to go. And as much as like you want them to stay, you want as well to see the growth that you deserve and not be held down. You should never be held down by the people that are around you. If that's the case, they too need to move on, in my opinion. If they won't grow with you, they're not meant to stick around for a longevity of time. They're meant to stick around for a short period of time. And that's normal. That's fine. I've seen a lot of people come and go in my friendship over at least the last 5 years. The last 5 years has been the biggest hurdle of my life, of gaining friends and losing friends. I've lost as many friends as I've gained, and I've gained as many as I've lost. And like, it'll continue to be that way. I'll gain 4 friendships and lose 5. It's just how it is. And those 4, though, 3 of them will stay, and they'll stick around for a long period of time. One of those people might drop off within a couple weeks, might take a year, might take 2. You never know, right? And one of the things that, and Rin was making a comment, and it made me think of it, because I always say this to people now, and it's one of the biggest, I don't even know where I heard this, but I know it's a quote that I heard from someone else. And it's, so basically I'm at a point in my life where I say to people, I am better than what I was yesterday, but worse than what I am tomorrow. Basically stating that I will always be better the next day than what I am today. Next day will always be worse than the day after it, but I'll always be better than the day before it, because you always got to self-reflect and self-improve. And I've been living by that, I think, for the past month. And it has been the biggest mind shift of my entire fucking life. Oh, it's unreal. Like, for me to, like, last night, for me, I've been talking about taking a break for about a couple weeks. I've been mentioning it off and on. Last night I was like, yeah, I'm just going to take a break. Whatever. I kind of looked for approval. Like, I put it in the Discord in the mod chat, and I was like, I might take a break. And then Tidy was like, you should. And I was like, okay, solid. I'm doing it. I was like, I don't need anybody else to confirm it for me. I know that I need it.
And then there was me that comes and said, you need to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what made me realize that I needed it? Last night when we were streaming, there was multiple instances where I zoned out and did not know how long I was staring at the screen and didn't look at chat. Not talking. I didn't speak. I'm sure there's about a 10-minute spot in my stream. I didn't say shit. I didn't say anything to you. I didn't say anything to chat. I didn't say anything about the game. I literally just stared and was walking through buildings and looting. Complete blank stare. I like all of a sudden I like just snapped out of it and looked over and I was like, okay, no one talked, but like I was so out of it that I realized, okay, I'm really tired. If I get to a point that I'm zoning out on stream, I'm too tired to be streaming. I shouldn't be streaming. I should be doing other things like fucking sleeping. I should not be doing live streams. If I want to play the game at that point, play it offline, zone out, whatever. Fucking numbingly play a game and be done with it. But it clicked in last night while I was streaming that I was like, hey, stream stats were amazing last night, which was weird. Like we averaged like 11.3, which was probably one of the highest we've had in a long time. But I zoned out like 3 times minimum. And I still don't understand how I did better in that stream than I did in any other one.
I believe the viewers enjoy us suffering for the most part. I mean,
oh yeah, and DayZ 100%.
Good on them. I mean, in any game really, but still, it's like
I'm still mad I got the car stuck tonight.
It happens. But yeah, I mean,
Bobby didn't help us.
Yeah, Bobby did. Thanks a lot, Bobby, if you're reading it or listening to this recording.
I'm gonna send this to Beard and tell Beard to send this to you.
But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of times when you did kind of push yourself for a lot of things. I mean, for no good reason as well.
And you could tell too, because like I would get stressed out over everything.
Like
it wasn't like a little thing.
Let's go back a couple of months. Back in October.
Fuck October.
I had to bring that up because this is when you actually made a decision for yourself and not for anybody else. I mean, you kind of reevaluate your life right there. That's as well. I mean,
but I say fuck October in the nicest way because October was a shit show as much as it was an eye opener. Because for the last couple of years, and I'll explain why I said fuck October so people understand. For the past couple of years, I've done this thing where October is the month that I stream every single day. I don't miss a stream. I stream from the 1st of October to the 31st. I don't know why, because I'm not a horror buff. I'm not someone that streams horror games. But for some reason, October is the month that every year I go, okay, I'm going to stream every day. I'm not going to plan any content for every day, but I'm going to stream every single fucking day. Whether it's 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, I don't give a fuck. And I was working a job last year. So in 2022, I was working a job where I was getting up and going to work for 7 in the morning. So I was having to get up at 6 a.m. I'd go to work. I'd get off at like 3:30. I'd come home. I'd eat. Tired as fuck already. I'm already burnt out. Pass out on the couch. Wake up. I'm half asleep. Come downstairs. Stream from 7 o'clock my time till almost midnight. Go to bed. Can't fall asleep till like 1 in the morning. Wake back up at 6 in the morning. Rinse and repeat. Every day of the week for stream and 5 days a week for the job. And about I think it was literally halfway through the month. I looked back and I think it was like the 16th.
The second week.
It was like
the second weekend.
Yeah, it was like the 13th or the 16th or something like that. I got so I used the word depressed, but it wasn't really depressed. It was anxiety driven. It was really bad. My anxiety was through the roof. My mental state was fucked.
You were physically fatigued.
Physically, mentally fatigued. I couldn't handle it anymore. I quit my job on the spot. I didn't even call the guy. I texted him. I texted my boss and was like, I'm not coming into work no more. I'm done. I said, I can't take this no more. I said, it's not you. It's just, I can't handle this job. It's not for me. I quit right then and there. And I didn't know where my next fucking paycheck was going to come from after that last pay was going to come in. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy the next 2 weeks. I'm going to stream for 2 weeks. I'm going to take 2 weeks off. My paycheck's going to take a week to come in, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'll have money till then. It was like, I'll just take the 2 weeks. and then I'll start sending out applications, or I'll send out applications in a week, and then I'll, whatever. And I think I decided, like, I was debating on taking a break that day. I didn't really want to stream. And I said, you know what? If I'm not going to work, I'm going to at least stream the whole month like I said I was going to. And I went live, and it was the first time, and mind you, at that point, I was just over 4 years streaming. Would have been 4 years in July. So, we're at like 4.25 at that point. And I've never been an emotional guy, because I was brought up around that alpha male tough dad that, you didn't cry in front of people. I never seen my dad cry except for one time in my entire life. And that was for a situation because my dad thought that and again, it's too much detail for me to go into, but basically my dad thought he fucked up as a father and he got upset over it. And that was partially me, partially him. We've dealt with that in the past. But I've never seen my dad cry other than that. I'm going on 29 this year. And last year in October was the first time ever I showed the tiniest bit of emotion and it blew up. Like, and not like viral shit. What I mean by blew up is I broke down so much. It was the first time that I've ever, one, cried on camera, cried during a live stream, and also realized at that moment that the person that I was, and I say this with the lightest thing, the person I was on stream was not me. Because I was hiding parts of me that I didn't like people to show, because I didn't like the show because of the fact that, again, I was brought up in that you got to be tough. You have to show no emotion. So, when people would do big donos and stuff, I was like, oh, thanks for the dono, or, oh, thanks for the gifted subs. And it wasn't a huge, like, why? Like, I wasn't showing the person that I could have been. And I feel like, and I say this a lot because this is something that I was told from the beginning, is people see right through your fake shit on stream. If you're not telling the truth or you're not being real, people can tell. Eventually people will find out because things won't add up. They'll just know. So, and that's what was pushing a lot of people to come and go really quick, was because, I would say stuff on stream and then the next stream they'd come by and it wasn't the same. And it just didn't make sense and it didn't add up. And it took me 4.5 years to learn that. And it's one of the most eye-opening but bullshit months I've ever dealt with. And I don't think, and I'm going to say this on audio, I do not think I'm going to do another 31-day stream in October. That was killer. It fucks with your head so much. Because you're expecting every day to be successful, and it's not that case. Actually, most days do shit. Most days are terrible, and you get like 1 day or 2 days a week that'll be a good stream. But the most of it is bad streams, bad stats, and exhaustion. It's not worth it.
I mean, then not to mention the content gets bland out over a long period of time, especially when it's the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
We did had a couple of runs of that incident happening where content plans out.
Well, it always kind of does. Like, unless you plan things out completely. Like, tonight we had somewhat of a game plan, and it still went out the fucking window. But, like, unless you have things completely planned out, and when I say, especially for a big thing like that, where you're in a stream every single day of the month, you have to plan everything out so meticulously that you have stuff set for every single fucking day. Something that will entertain people, something that will bring people in. And that usually costs you more money than what you're going to make on streaming. And it's an investment. You're investing money into your future of streaming. And if you don't think it's worth it, you shouldn't do it. And that's what I did. I invested some money into that month and then quit my job. And then I got a lot of support back, which was really nice. And it kind of made up for the amount that I invested into it. But it's not something that I think at this stage I could justify doing again. I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it.
I mean, then again, you have to remember. So that incident was an eye opener for you. I remember you prior to your decision making that week was you were texting me or DMing me about, oh, no, I don't know how I can do this and all that. I'm like, and I had to give you the straight facts. Like, I straight up told you, like, that job, you weren't physically prepared for it. You're killing yourself trying to make these ends meet. And it's like, you need to take a step back. Like, bro, you are stretching yourself out.
I took a step back, all right.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, you really did. Like, you really needed it. And, like, everybody else was like, yeah, just do this, do that. And it's like, no, people, you have to understand, it's a lot more than it meets the eye. And that that's when you end up, crossing down a dam on stream.
But again,
you held it all in. Let's be honest.
I did. I had more than just
an entire year.
I had more than just like a month's worth of fucking emotions held in. There was a lot. Like it was a lot. There was a lot of things going on in my head. Like and that's what I come with when I say there was a point when, like I was saying, I was stressed out every day. Like I would end streams and then instantly, like, I'm sure if we went back in and we looked at DMs from like a year ago, they would just be me complaining. Like most of the time.
There was a lot.
There was a lot of it. Like there was a lot of just me going, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Like, why the fuck do I still do this? Like I shouldn't have to deal with this shit no more. Like, what am I doing wrong that yesterday I had 15 viewers and today I play the same game and I got 3? Like, what the fuck? But it wasn't me. It was just I wasn't clicking in my head that people have fucking lives, dude. Like, people aren't sitting there at the screen going, when's Rage gonna go live again? They're not sitting there waiting for me to go live. They got families, they got friends, they got a life, they're working. People have shit going on. And yes, it seems like a big dip when you go from like 10 to 3 because you're not in a high number. But 10 to 3, it makes sense because, if I stream on a Sunday and I stream on a Monday, well, Sunday nobody was fucking working. Monday apparently, the 7 of the average people were working, and that's perfectly fine. You need to accept that. There's nothing you can do or say about that shit. And for the longest time, I didn't fucking believe that. In my head, for some reason, I believed that I deserved those people to be there no matter what. And it would bother me more than it would actually help me learn and grow. And it took me, again, till that moment in October. Realistically, it took me to that moment to realize that, holy fuck, people have lives. And it's stupid to say it like that. When you say it back to when I say it back to myself, it sounds really stupid. Like, yes, people have lives. It's like, what the fuck?
I'm honestly glad we actually did step away from HFCGG because in the mindset, everybody was like, oh, we play this game, we're going to pull viewers. It was like, it wasn't, we always played it off where it was always about the viewers, which, I mean, hand in hand, it depends.
Realistically, what ended up happening with HFCGG was that the main person of it was trying to build a community by streaming for a couple hours and sending a raid to somebody that we've never met, introducing themselves as a gaming group or as a Twitch group, and then baiting them into joining the Discord and being active in the Discord, and basically stating that if you support us, we'll support you. That was kind of the mentality, and that's not what I signed up for when I joined it.
And I believe that's what happened with most people in that community. Everybody just kind of jumped on the bandwagon, and it's like, well,
people were wanting to meet new people. We all wanted to meet new people. That's why we did it.
But, I mean, is the fact that, like, how can you say you're supportive when, all you care about is the analytics,
Yeah.
As a viewer, you're supposed to be supporting the streamer as they are meant to be, not to personalize how you want them to imagine themselves to be. Like, streamers are not there to be your specific entertainment. They're supposed to be for everybody, which is supposed to be in a broad spectrum of thing.
And to be fair, HFCGG could have been something really fucking cool if it would have been handled properly, in my opinion. But the issue was, and I say this in the kindest of ways, because again, a lot of these people were really new. Like, I was the only streamer that had anything close to 1,000 followers at that point. Most of the viewers most of the streamers, which I come to find out, Mr. B was on Mixer first. OG Frost was on Mixer first. And then he went to Twitch because Mixer dropped off. So these two guys were on another platform, came to Twitch, knew nothing about Twitch, started streaming, had under 100 followers. The main guy of the channel wasn't even an affiliate. And he started 2 streaming channels. And then everybody else that was a part of it was under or close to 100 followers. And then I joined, and I think at the time I had like 700 or something like that. I might have had 1,000 at that point, or really close to it.
I think you were on the way, I believe.
I was pretty fucking close to it, I think, because I remember saying like, "Hey, I don't want to sound like a dick.
Let's push, you know."
I was like, I don't want to sound like a dick, but you realize that you're bringing on a team member that has more following than all of you guys combined, and that's how I said it to him. I was like, I'm okay with joining, because like I've been looking for a group of people to get along with and like play games and collaborate with, and I mean, this could be something really cool. But it just was like, I told him, I said, "Are you okay with someone being a bigger streamer than you? Like, are you okay with that?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You're sure?" Because like I'm bringing more to the table than any of you guys can bring to the table. I've been doing this for so much longer than you guys. And he's like, "That's cool." But what ended up happening is that, again, I brought so much to the table. I brought a big community to the table. Even though I didn't have a high average, I had a big community. And at the time I had, 60, 70 people in my Discord that were active. And it ended up being like this thing of, I brought so much to the table, everybody gained following off of me, and then nobody ever returned the favor. And at that point in time, I was like, "Oh, well, I dished out. Where the fuck's my reward?" And then, me, and I think it was me, Mr. B, the owner of the server, of the group, and then someone else. We used to play Sea of Thieves, and it was fun at first. We had a lot of fun with it. Actually, the average viewer was really good, actually, and it brought a lot of people over from, because what he would do is he would have a command that every so often it would post all of our links, which was great. 100% love that. But he was the one on screen. We weren't. Or no, actually, he had a thing at the bottom that would show all of our webcams, so he could see our webcams at least. And the thing was, though, is that we couldn't stream at the same time as him when he would do the HFCGG. So it's not like people could come and live react on my stream or on Mr. B's. It was all on HFCGG, and it did gain some traction. I'll admit it did. But it died off really quick, because as much as I love the guy that did that, he was a sexual guy. He loved his sexual jokes, and his comedic sense was sexy music and doing weird things, and it turned me away so fucking quick. All of a sudden, nobody wanted to play Sea of Thieves. Nobody wanted to get together for group calls. Nobody, like, people were just like, I'm busy, I'm working, doing life things,
I believe that at that point people decided who to stick with, and
yeah, that's kind of when we decided, like, well, it was kind of like a decision without making a decision. Like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, Mr. B was playing Call of Duty, well, fuck, I'm gonna go play some COD with Mr. B. Let me go play some COD with Mr. B. Oh, OG Frost. I never really got to play games with OG Frost, because one, he played a lot of Super Smash. But, if he would play Overwatch, I'd go play some Overwatch with OG Frost. Yeah, and then Mando is huge into fucking Valorant, and I wanted to get into Valorant. So I, squad up with Mando and play Val. And we ended up being this friend group that just, and again, you come from the fact that OG Frost, and the other guy too, and we ended up clicking in that manner, because when Mr. B would play COD, you would play COD, so we would be in the same, we'd end up playing together. And yeah, we kind of established a group unintentionally. We established a friend group because we just had the same common interests.
I think it was when we were playing Apex, I believe, when you were starting to get into Apex.
That's what it was. Yeah, I was saying COD, and I was like, I don't remember.
Like, hey, you need a third? I'm here.
Yeah, no, it was Apex because me and Mr. B for a while was playing, and then I remember me, Mr. B, and Mando did a tournament together. We came in like,
yeah.
What was it like?
I mean, you guys did pretty good with the tournament.
We almost fucking with no practice, we came in like third or fourth or something like that. It was something crazy. But like we almost won it. We thought we were going to be winners at first, and then when the results came out, we were like, oh man, we were so close. But
I mean,
yeah, I remember now. It was Apex. It wasn't Call of Duty. It was Apex because you were just like, if ever you guys need third, and we are like, fuck yeah, like join up whenever. And because Mr. B goes through, Mr. B is like me. He goes through phases of games pretty quickly.
I mean, actually, after all the years that we played, I mean, to be honest, it's kind of true. I mean, we all have these phases of games where like we would grind through a period of time, and then like you come back to it, it's like, eh.
Yeah, like I'll never play Apex again, just because
it kind of just blind out for us. I mean, we did so many runs through it.
Well, it got bland out, and they never really, everything that they did was more towards those people that were sweats, like the fucking like. And I'm not gonna grind a game to become super sweaty where I'm gonna be able to 360 slide down a fucking hill and shoot you in the face as I slide down. I'm not that type of person, man. I'm a casual player. The second a game gets too sweaty, I used to be. The thing is that I was a casual player that was trying to be sweaty. I was trying to be competitive, but I could never get the grasp of being competitive. So I usually ended up failing at that aspect. So I would get frustrated with the game, and then I would just never fucking play it ever again. I would just never play it again.
And most of it's how, most people kind of just phased out from us, ghost from us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all get to that moment where we kind of, get a little too overconfident or over competitive, but it's like, it's always nice to say, hey, chill it, cool it, turn it down a notch, don't just ghost us because we kind of went a little overboard. I mean, if anything, if you want an apology, just say so,
Mm-hmm.
I'll fix that.
I think the biggest struggle for me is when I get so mad at a game that I stop playing it, and everybody else is like, but I'm going to play this game. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then I have nobody to play games with because all they do is play that game. And I'm like, this sucks. But it is what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, that's when you basically rebranded yourself. It's like, I want to start fresh. I want to redo the things I did wrong.
The rebrand was like, it was one of those things of like, I needed it, but I went overboard. Because I went, and to explain what we mean by that is the rebrand was I literally went from streaming like Valorant, which was like the main game that I would play, and like we'd play other games, but it was mainly just I'd stream Valorant every fucking day of the week, or every day that I would stream, like 4 days a week or whatever. And we went from that to single player games. I completely flipped the boat. I stopped playing Valorant because I took a break. I took a break from streaming. It was a 2-week break. In the first 2 days, I almost broke my monitor, realized that I was way too angry, needed a break, decided that I'm going to stick on this break for 2 weeks because I was debating on coming off earlier. Stuck it out for the 2 weeks, and when I came back, I was a single player streamer. And it was like a huge like eye opener that I needed to do it to build on the character that I am, to be able to entertain people without relying on people. That was a big eye opener. That was like stage 1 of the rebrand. And then stage 2 was realizing that single player games can also fuck me over because I never built a community off of single player games. Built a community off of being a community and playing games that other people wanted to play as well. So then we started introducing more multiplayer back in. So playing a little bit of Call of Duty, playing Monster Hunter Rise, which we did for a little bit, playing Fortnite. Now we're playing DayZ. Now I'm going to try Ark in the next couple weeks. I still want to try the cycle, like playing Counter-Strike. Like I'll do those games, but I'm playing through Hogwarts right now, and I'm playing it on hard mode. We do Hogwarts once a week. We do a Borderlands playthrough, which we haven't gotten to do lately with Bishik because of just life. But usually on Sundays, we do Borderlands. And then on Mondays, we'll do like DayZ, like an MMO,
kind of sensation,
or like like a co-op or a multiplayer or something like that on Mondays. And then depending on the week, sometimes I'll stream on Tuesday, sometimes I'll stream on Wednesday, but it's usually 4 days a week. And then the other day is whatever. Like this week, Wednesday, which I have to keep reminding myself, I have to download the game later. I got to download The Evil Within because we hit a sub goal last month that I was not expecting us to hit. I kept talking about it and we hit it anyways. And I got to play a horror game. So the community on Discord decided Evil Within, which I'm very surprised. I thought there was going to be like a mass selection for, what was it? Resident Evil? Yeah, Resident Evil. And only one person voted for Resident Evil 2 remake. And I was very surprised because we got 7 votes for The Evil Within. And it made me realize something too. I've played these games before, but
you never finished though.
No,
that was the biggest thing.
The biggest thing though is that I played these games, and people are like, "Well, I've never seen you play these games," and I'm like, "Fuck, I didn't have a community when I played these games. I had a few friends. There's a huge difference." So in a way, I'm happy I didn't finish these games because now I can go back. And because I'm so stupid, I'm not going to remember shit about the game. And I'm going to get to play it as almost as if it's been fresh in my mind. There's going to be moments in the game. There's going to be moments in the game where I'm going to go, oh, I remember this. But it's going to be like, when I get to the end, it's still going to be an ending I've never seen because I haven't beaten the game. So Evil Within might become another game that I end up playing. I'll probably end up trying to beat it. But what I'm going to do, I want to beat Hogwarts first. And I don't want to add too many single player games to my plate at once because then I get fucking mixed up. And Hogwarts is going to take me a long fucking time because I'm playing it on hard mode. And I'm doing like as many quests as I possibly can.
Not to mention a DLC is coming out for that, sadly.
When?
It's still in development, but
okay.
It will be soon.
I'll assume that I'm done Hogwarts before it comes out.
I mean, this is what people have been going off Reddit and all that stuff.
And then besides that, they fucking released Jedi Survivor for like the 28th of April. I want to play that shit because I beat Jedi Fallen Order. So now I want to beat this one. I want to play through the second game because the first game was fucking phenomenal. I loved it.
I still need to finish it myself.
I ran through that game, by the way. Like, I ran through it. I didn't even do any side quests or anything. This was back whenever I was like, I think this was even before technically you were around a lot. You might have been around, but I don't know if you were around like super actively like you are now. And I ran through it. I think I did it in 2 streams. People were like, you beat fucking Jedi Fallen Order already? I was like, yeah, dude. And they're like, did you do any of the side quests? And I was like, no.
I mean, let's be honest, most games give you a choice to either do some of the side quests or not at all. I mean, it's optional.
I also basically played it on trivial, so it was like super easy.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Because at the time I was playing it for the story. So what I was doing is, this is why I'm super happy that I'm playing Hogwarts the way I'm playing it, is because I could have ran through Hogwarts like super easy. I could have played it on normal and beat it. Like, I'd probably be almost done it by now. The boss fights wouldn't be as hard. I wouldn't have to fucking panic as much and worry about my spells as much, and I would just spam spells. And it would work. I would do it. Thing is that playing it on hard adds such a bigger depth to the game because you actually have to be a little stealthy. You actually have to be a little bit strategic. You have to, like
you have to mentally pace yourself.
Yeah, you do. And you can't just run through everything. Like, I have to do side quests to level up to get to the level that I need to be to do the main quest. Well, with Jedi Fallen Order and all the other games that I played on normal and story mode, basically, which was like, fuck you mode. I'm just going to, I can absorb all your shots and still kill you. That's basically what I was playing them on. Because what I was looking for was more of a story. And more of like, what I thought I was doing was, if I run through the game quicker, I can get through more games, be on more pages, find more people. The thing with that is that if you're only on that page 2 days, no one's going to fucking find you.
Yeah,
being on that page frequently changes things. I have been streaming DayZ for 2 weeks now, and it has been the best stats I have seen in a long time because, one, I'm newer player, and two, it's still got a pretty decent fan base. And people like to see how the fuck you would like to survive. Even though this game came out, I think someone in chat said 2013.
Yeah, it is a long running game, and it's been through multiple iterations from beta to early access to full release. I mean,
yeah, which I think at some point we'll have no choice but to do some form of a fucking podcast episode on DayZ. More or less, it wouldn't be more or less like a review. I think that one, it would be more or less our experiences on DayZ.
More of a personal experience, yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be really interesting.
And let's be honest. I mean, after what multiple iterations of decision making we've done together, and what the community's done for you, I mean, you learn to kind of pace yourself at this point. I mean, the way you're going at it, you're playing this game on these days specifically. You're playing another game,
and it gets people excited. It gets people excited for those days. It because there's specific days for that. Saturday is single player games. Saturday is Hogwarts. When Hogwarts is done, well, then I'll pick another single player game that I have, and I'll start playing that. Whether it be Jedi Survivor, or it be there's a few other single player games and stuff coming out that I was interested in, and I still have a bunch. I have Cyberpunk that I've never fucking played before. I have to play through that at some point. Like, I could just, go from Hogwarts to Cyberpunk and play Cyberpunk on Cyberpunk, I wouldn't really have to play it on a harder difficulty because there's so much shit to do in Cyberpunk anyways.
I would say just go do a straightforward
gameplay. Yeah, and you just play through Cyberpunk. If you're going to do all the missions and shit, it's going to take you fucking...
From my experience from Cyberpunk, most of the side quests is kind of just backstory and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, you can get great equipment and all that.
The reason I'm interested in doing the side quests again is because of that factor. Like I said, you're on that page more. People that are hardcore fans of Cyberpunk will see you on there frequently and go, I've seen this guy before. I should check him out. As much as there's not discoverability on Twitch, and people are like, you need to do things on other platforms. Yeah, you do. But if I stream Cyberpunk once a day for 5 months, let's say, that's the potential. 4-hour streams, that is a lot of potential to getting clips to post on other platforms for people that love Cyberpunk to come find you. So it's better to spend more time playing those games than to spend less time. Stop trying to... and I get it, some people are speedrunners. That makes sense. I'm not a speedrunner. I need to stop thinking like a speedrunner. I'm not running through these games fast. I need to run through these games efficiently and understand the game. Like, I've played through single player games, and at the end of it, I went, I don't even know what the fucking game was about because I wasn't paying attention. I would skip every fucking cutscene. I'd skip all the details. I would just, nope, don't want to hear it. Just want to do the mission. Just want to do the quest. And I would go about my day. And as much as I wanted to, I mean, I set a goal at the beginning of the year to beat 30 single player games in the year. That kind of went out the fucking window.
I mean, no, not really. Because, I mean, like I said, the year before the time when we were just doing straight single player games, it was more of a self-taught thing to play a game at your own pace where you can enjoy it. And
yeah.
I remember...
My pace seemed to be beat it in 2 days and move on.
And then it kind of burned yourself out because, your media expectations and you were getting frustrated about them. Like, you don't have to, beat it all in this amount of time. I mean, of course, enjoy yourself with it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the satisfaction of properly beating a game, yes. Feeling in the world.
After watching you play Wolfenstein or whatever it's called, I really want to play those games. They look really fun. I saw you playing them. What was that? I think it was like last week. And then I saw someone else playing it. There's a new one, like the new well, I guess it's not new. It's like newer, the New Order. And
no, actually, no. The latest installment of the series is called Young Blood.
Young Blood. Okay, so I saw someone playing New Order, and they were like playing the new one of the newer Wolfensteins, and I was like, oh, I didn't even watch it because I was like, I don't want to watch it now because now it's gonna spoil the game for me. I'm like, I'm just gonna wait.
Look at it. It's a game you can play at your own pace.
Yeah.
It's like all these games are made to play at your own pace.
That's it. And I was just too much in a rush to fucking beat these games to move on to the next one. It's like what game was it? I don't even remember the name of the game. It's the one where you have like you have a gun, but and you're a girl, you're a woman, and you're in this like Control. I feel like I ran through that game so quick, but again, it was very linear. Like there wasn't a huge amount of like side quest and shit, but I feel like I ran.
Rails.
What's that?
You were basically on the rails for the story. I mean, it was straight.
Yeah, and it was like you blew through it, and I was like, I want it more, but there wasn't more to play. Like it just there's games like that too, which is kind of interesting. But
I mean, let's hash back to another game we recently that we did an episode for was Bonding. I mean, that was
Bonding. I really hope at some point they release like a DLC.
I mean, it was a game we played at our own pace. We took our time with it, and still,
even the one that we're playing now, which we'll probably be doing an episode on for next month, Exome.
We'll be doing an episode pretty soon for that game. We're almost
like Exome, we technically are playing it at our own pace, but like we blew through so much in one night because we were sucked into it.
I mean, we did 4 hours straight through without even thinking about it, and
yeah, and it was like we say this, we don't know. We think I would say we're about like, because we have one more thing to do, and then it's the big fight,
and we're assuming it's.
Yeah, so like we're looking at like probably like at least 75% done the game already in 4 hours. But again, we kind of as a group together, we tend to run through things pretty quick, but it's still kind of at our own pace. Like we didn't like go to each objective and do the objectives. We explored, like we were running through and exploring, and we'll get into details on the episode when we get into it. But yeah, it was really interesting, and it's a very interesting game. We have a lot more planned for the future, but I am gonna say that this is actually talk. I thought this talk would be a half an hour, and it's already been an hour.
Yep. But I mean, it's a very good talk. I mean, we're bringing the grounds of why, who you came to be, and like where'd you.
It's realistically, and if people don't realize it, but it's realistically why my name is Rageaffects, because there was a point when, my name was
formally.
Before this name, it was it's Outrage. Yeah, it was It's Outrage, but it was with a 3 instead of an E, and it bothered me so much because I was always like having a hard time to explain to people how to fucking find me on Twitch. And I was like, oh yeah, it's Outrage with a 3, and they're like, oh, Outrage with a 3. I'm like, no, it's. So I knew I had to get rid of the word it's out of the name because it just didn't make any fucking sense. Trying to tell people what my name was, I'd basically have to write it down. So I thought about it and I said, well, Rage has to stay, because Rage, since I've been streaming for 5 years as of now, Rage has been the name that everybody has called me. Even when I had my real name in my fucking name, people called me Rage. Like my original name was Rage Gaming Jesse. Everybody called me Rage. Nobody once called me by my real name. No one.
You understand. There's the written rule of keeping RL in.
But my name was in my fucking first name was in my fucking username, and people were still using Rage. So it like that legit has to stay no matter what. I don't give a shit what name it was, that had to stay. And at the time, this was right around actually when I was debating on moving to doing single player content more. So I had names like Rage Tales. There was a bunch of other ones that were like single player kind of like orientated and stuff. And
Rage Gaming.
Well, Rage Gaming was there, but it was like one of those things of, I've had that before. So I was like, I don't really want that, because I get that it's a gaming channel and people kind of knew that. But I had put down, I think it was like 60 names And I had jotted down like a huge amount. And I got this idea from, he goes by Pascal Muse now. Pascal's a fucking fantastic person. I'm going to have to maybe reach out to Pascal and see if I can get him on the podcast. That'd be fucking amazing. But he was like, listen, I wrote down like 100 names and then I picked one. And he's like, and I basically went through on Twitch and I tried them, and whichever ones worked, I put a check mark next to them. And so I was like, what's something that makes my name have a double meaning? And I was like, Rage is my name. Rage is the persona name. That's the name people call me. What can I add in there that would make sense? That would put a solidification on what I want for me. And that's why I use the word effects, not effects, but affects. So with the A, was because the word effect is to have an effect or make a difference to something. So Rageaffects basically stands for me wanting to make a difference, or, you know, have an effect on someone, whether it be one person, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever. It's to make that difference for me. So, you know, I've had people recently be saying, you know, like, I'm laughing and I'm smiling because of this stream. Awesome. That's the whole fucking point of this stream. The whole point of the name. That's why it's Rageaffects, and that's why it will be Rageaffects for a long fucking time. I don't think I'm ever going to change the name, because this is a name that I stand by the meaning behind the name. People have origins for the name, and some of them are pretty cheesy, but mine has a meaning that I've worked so hard on getting that name to where I want it. And that's realistically what it comes down to. My biggest thing is I want to have an effect on people, or make a difference to at least one person, whether it be for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like I said, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, a week, fucking months, a year, you know, till the day they fucking die. Like, you know, whatever it is, it comes down to wanting to make a difference on multiple platforms. And that's kind of what I'm trying to achieve. It's a long process. I've definitely, like I said, every day is a better day, and I'm getting to a place where I feel comfortable sharing a lot more of myself. And I think a lot of people are scared of that. And I won't get too much into detail on that shit now, because we're already past an hour. We're already pulling towards an hour and 20 minutes for the recording. Probably going to cut it down enough that it'll be probably about an hour. Right now it'd be like an hour and 10, whatever. But yeah, I just, you know, well, for one, I know it's late in the episode, but, you know, if you want something like this, a podcast where you can reach out to people outside of streaming or stuff like that, check out the show notes, because Podcast Bay's information is going to be in there. And that's the company that helps me do this. Even though I'm late on my episode coming in, they're going to, and he's probably going to be upset with me. That's why I'm giving him a shout out, because if I don't, he's going to be mad at me. But you know, like, he makes a big difference in my life, and he's definitely helped me achieve something that scared me for the longest time. The podcast should have happened 4 years ago. I've had podcast ideas since I started working for him 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm happy that he was able to convince me, along with other people, convince me to finally do this, because it's definitely been an eye-opener for me, and people get to hear more about my shit and more about other people's shit, because we talk to other streamers. So, you know, it's really cool to hear their perspectives too on everything that's going on. And again, like I said, you know, the episode's going to come out on a pretty weird moment for me, as the 15th I'll be streaming, which is the day of the release of this episode. The 16th of April I will be streaming, and then the next stream will be later in the week, around the 22nd of April. So I'll be taking like a whole 5-6 days ish off of streaming. So, you know, if you haven't listened to the other episodes, feel free to check those out. If you want to meet up with me, there's also the Linktree links in my description for things like, you know, the Discord, the other episodes for the podcast, and just in general, a lot of different things. Everything's there. So if you want to reach out in that manner, feel free to do that. We always like seeing new people and hearing from new people. And I just wish you guys, if you're a streamer Like, really, I hope this connects with you on a specific level, because I feel like a lot of streamers deal with a lot of the similar shit. Although it sounds different in a lot of people's instances, I feel like a lot of people still deal with the same shit with different context. It's kind of one of those things of, you deal with your things in your own way. It's always a different experience, but at the end of the day, it's the same thought process from the streamers. Because I've spoken with streamers off stream and stuff, and they've all said, yeah, I've dealt with that. I've dealt with this. Not the same way, but I've dealt with this. And I think if we could connect in a specific level, maybe it'll clear your mind enough that make you realize that you've come a long way. I think people forget that if you were to look back at your first ever clips and you look back to now, I guarantee you're going to find things that are going to look so much better, and you as a person are going to be so much better. And if not, that's okay. You're allowed to be, in that position for a longer period of time. Sometimes it takes a lot longer for someone to get out of that rut, and it's perfectly fucking normal. It's perfectly fucking fine for you to sit in that rut for a while and, soak up all the water that's coming through. Because at some point it's going to evolve out of something, and you're going to end up, saying, fuck this shit. I need to change something, and you're going to do it, and you're going to do it right. So I hope the best for my streamer friends, the people that I meet along the way, for those that are listening to it and that are normal regulars of the stream. I wish you guys the best. And like I said, this was kind of one of those, it's a podcast episode that I didn't think I would be doing, in a sense, because the thought process behind this tonight, and I went in this with like no game plan, and I know this is extended and I'm sorry, but I came in this with no game plan to speak about my origin, and turned into I was going to use the word mental meltdown, but it's not. It's I basically just spit words out and they made sense. And it was basically anything and everything that was in my head as I was talking about everything, because when you talk about things, stuff start to pop in your head. So it was like one of those, talk about some stuff, things popped in my head, kept going. So I hope it wasn't too hard hitting. I hope it wasn't too overwhelming, and that you guys can kind of get into a deeper sense of me, I guess, in a way, because I guess this episode was more reflected around me. I guess so. It was, that's what it was for, I guess.
It was more of just a straight up mental talk.
It was. It's just, I hate being woe is me too. So I'm like, I'm very I'm very unappreciative of myself in a way. And it puts me in a place of, I don't like being complimented. So when I talk about myself, I'm like, it's okay. I'm fucking terrible. I know it. I understand it. But like, I'm really trying to find a way to end this, but
yeah, I mean, we all need a mental health at some point, and
yeah, exactly.
And also, it's the fact, if you're in a situation and you feel enclosed, talk to someone. Just reach out to someone, talk to them. Just have that mental stability, because that's the biggest as well.
You need someone like Rin to snap you out of fucking being stupid.
And
in the nicest way. In the nicest way. I don't mean that like you're not stupid. You're just blinded. It's like racing horses. All they know is straight because they got blinders on. You need someone like Rin, or someone that's going to look at you and go, hey, snap the fuck out of it. You're better than this. You deserve more than this, but you need to work for it. Like you do. You need to put the work in. You can't just ask for it and it's going to happen. You need to put the work in. But yeah, no, I just think that it's much needed sometimes to snap out of what you're doing and just be you. Stop being someone you're not, because it's not healthy for you, and it's not healthy for the people around you. The last thing I'll say, and it just clicked in my head because it makes sense. Who was it? Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey said this once. He said this on an interview. He said, depression isn't actually what we think it is. It's our body telling our mind that they're fed up of playing the role of the character they're in. Not depression, it's decompressing. And when you become in that depressive state, you need to change who you are. It's not that you're depressed. You're fed up with the fucking person you are. You need change. It's normal. You need change. There's no way around it.